We arrive at the Saturday of the octave of Easter, and the Gospel of St. Mark is presented to us concerning the appearances of the risen Lord, which are brief accounts. Specifically, the Gospel of St. Mark speaks of 3 appearances of the risen Lord, and it emphasizes the unbelief that occurred, how hard it was for them to believe. The first appearance was to Mary Magdalene, and she did receive the announcement of the resurrection. But when she went to tell the disciples, the companions, it says they did not believe her. Then, secondly, it says that he appeared to 2 who were on their way to the countryside. It seems that he is referring to the 2 disciples from Emmaus, as narrated by St. Luke. And it says that these 2, when they had this encounter with the risen Lord, ran to tell the others, and they too did not believe them. And thirdly, it says, he appeared to the 11 apostles who were sitting at the table. And when he appeared before them, he rebuked them for their unbelief and hardness of heart, before sending them to preach. Interestingly, the Gospel of St. Mark emphasizes this difficulty in believing. Well, there are 3 elements that are necessary to reach the act of faith to believe. The first is testimony. Someone gives testimony. In this case, Christ himself, who reveals himself. But the grace of God is also needed. Without the grace of God, we are not capable of making the act of faith that the one who appears is the risen Jesus. First, testimony is needed. Second, the grace of God. And thirdly, the correct personal attitude is also needed. And in the case of these accounts in St. Mark, what was missing? Was the testimony missing? No, the testimony, they certainly had the testimony, right? The proof is that Mary Magdalene believed, and those 2 apostles who were on the way believed. But it was the others who did not believe, right? Was the grace of God what was missing? No, they had the grace of God. That is why Jesus Christ reproached them for not having believed, because they had the grace, yet they did not believe. Therefore, if they had the testimony and they had the grace of God, what was missing was the personal attitude. The personal attitude, which was not the correct one. They had hardened their hearts. They had become disillusioned by what had happened. They were pessimistic and were not open to receiving that message. This Gospel of St. Mark helps us, or invites us, to fight against unbelief, to see what our inner attitude is. Sometimes there are many people who have a great battle with their unbelief, with their hardness of heart. I remember an expression from Graham Greene, who was a 20th century writer, screenwriter, and literary critic. And Graham Greene says in an expression, as he was struggling against unbelief, he says, "I do not believe in my unbelief, Lord. I offer you my doubt." A courageous expression from someone who wants to purify their inner attitude in order to open themselves to the act of faith.